The thread we're introducing today is titled "Is the biggest mystery of the Void Century." Let's dive in.
Is the Poneglyph really the only trace left of a nation with such advanced technology?
Well, Laputa was similar in that regard. The remaining technology was probably destroyed by the government, just like they did with the child hunts during Ace's time.
Honestly, with that level of technology, they probably took refuge on Sky Island or even in space.
Maybe it's because everything sank into the sea.
Fish man, their intelligence seems way too low.
Personally, the idea that a king will eventually come along in a few hundred years to fix everything just doesn't sit right with me. It's strange that a civilization so advanced, far beyond even Vegaper's reach, would rely on fate or prophecy. I mean, if they had something akin to a time machine, that might make sense. But still,
The world government knew about the existence of the Poneglyphs, but in 800 years, they didn't manage to collect them, and most of the important ones were taken by pirates. That's just too incompetent.
what if there's something elaborate that only triggers after a certain amount of time has passed, regardless of the activities of people or creatures in the world? Thinking along those lines could explain Roger's early demise.
Perhaps the Poneglyphs are incredibly powerful, which is why they were left behind.
The fact that they didn't make a concerted effort to search for the One Piece is also concerning.
When it comes to the red Poneglyphs, isn't it true that the government hasn't really been able to collect them? Is there a possibility that they've actually managed to collect a significant number over these 800 years?
It's hard to say for sure. The Poneglyphs seem to be incredibly durable, resistant to damage, and possibly too heavy to transport by ship.
Even so, I think the notion of a king appearing implies some kind of fate or destiny, not science or anything like that. Even the rising sea levels are stated to be artificial, not natural.
Yeah, not only is it foretold that a king will appear, but it's also predicted that in 20 years, a new generation will emerge.
Jinbe is offering it up to Big Mom, so I don't think it's immovable or impossible to transport. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible to house it in places like Alabasta or Jaya, like in temples or bell towers.
In the real world, there's a self-purification effect in deep sea waters below 200 meters. Some speculate that a massive kingdom intentionally sank the world to cleanse a polluted world. Diseases like amber lead syndrome and amber lead disease were geological in origin.
In reality, the medium that can preserve information the longest is carving into stone. So maybe they were thinking about preserving it for such a long time.
Also, if there were a 200-meter rise, then it should be considered that the history before the Void Century might have been tampered with. Statements like civilization was born in this estuary or this area was fertile land prone to conflict would all become questionable. And above all, Joy Boy was born at the start of the Void Century. So the absence of vastly developed kingdoms from history books before the Void Century is also strange. In that case, the question of why erase only that 100 years is also puzzling.
I wish Toki Toki no Mi could be used more effectively, but maybe it's not that versatile after all.
Yeah, it's explicitly stated as a one-way ticket. If it had precognition like King Crimson's epitaph, it's strange that Odin didn't say anything. But it's natural to think that maybe Toki awakened just before her death and saw the future of Luffy, Kid, and Law coming to Wano country.
Bellamy managed to bring back a pillar from the bell tower, so in terms of transportation, it seems feasible despite the impossibility of destruction. Personally, I wonder, even if destruction is deemed impossible, since the processing is within the realm of the Kozuki clan's secrets, couldn't they remove the parts with the inscriptions? Can't they dispose of it using abilities like Law's room to throw it into a pocket dimension or drop it into the whirlpool at Eni's lobby? It might be a bit crude to think about.
Well, 100 years is actually relatively average in terms of the rise and fall of nations. You know.
Dressrosa and Alabasta seem to have records of history from before the Void Century, though.
There wasn't anything they could destroy besides the Poneglyph.
It's speculative, but maybe it's something like the Founding Titan from Attack on Titan, which could be a device for manipulating the memories of all humanity. If such a thing existed, it could explain the erasure or alteration of history and technology. This hypothetical device, separate from Uranus and referred to as a national treasure by Doflamingo, could be it. However, it might not be something easily wielded by Imsama, even if someone were to attempt to eradicate technology and records by hand. In a world where even navigation is quite challenging, it's hard to imagine surveillance and control being so extensive as to eradicate every trace completely.
Today's video ends here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.